My name is Anamika Sangar, and this is my creative science project on DNA. This consists of different poems, stories, like different written pieces that explain DNA in general. And I'll explain the painting on the main board afterwards. So this is my project. This is like my title page. So just like general, it's like kind of artistic. But I'll go into my poems. I made a 3-part series of poems. This is part 2. It's called What is DNA? So I'll be reading this out for you. DNA, the 3-lettered mystery. The knowledge had finally come to me. The beauty of science, it came to me in many ways. The scientist explained. DNA, a majestic ribbon spiraling into a double helix. A twisted ribbon of history. DNA, key to survival and continuance of life. Passed on to future generations. Again. DNA, a book with 4 letters, A, T, C, and G. A story to tell and a story to make. DNA, assisting functioning and structure with proteins, the proteins of life. DNA, a sequence code, unique and individual. The 3-lettered mystery, DNA. Now a 3-lettered word with meaning, a molecule that made me oh so unique. So that's one of my poems. This is like the 3rd part of that poem. I also wrote a story about DNA structure. It's called Music is in My Genes. I actually have an analogy within the story. So I'm comparing DNA and like the structure of DNA to like instruments and an orchestra. So basically there's a main character. His name is Daniel Strands. It's a unique name. He talks about that. And his name for short is DNA because he doesn't want to be called Dana. So his name is Daniel Strands. And he plays the trumpet in his school orchestra. And today they're performing for like 10,000 people in an amphitheater. So he has his trumpet, and like throughout the story it's being compared to different things. So I'll read the summary for you. So genetic code or genes are compared to music notes. The strands of DNA are compared to trumpets and instruments. Phosphate, like the part of the nucleotide, is compared to the mouthpiece of the trumpet or instrument. The sugar, also part of the nucleotide, is like the bell or the end of the instrument. And the backbone or the DNA strand is compared to a mouthpiece and the bell together. So that's like phosphate and sugar together, which would make the backbone, which is like also relates to actual DNA. And the DNA double helix is like the assembled and like being used trumpet. And the nitrogenous bases would be the valves where like the notes are played. The nucleotide would be compared to the mouthpiece, bell, and valves together because like with the previous analogies, that's what it would be together. And the covalent bonds are the connective pieces of the instrument because it holds it together. And the hydrogen bonds would be like your breath to play the trumpet or instrument. And then the nitrogen, like adenine and thymine, and cytosine and guanine, those are the certain valves or notes that go together. So that shows how like A and T go together and C and G go together and all with each other. Just like how on a trumpet, like you wouldn't play certain notes with others. And then the histone proteins are like the other instruments in the orchestra and their sounds. And then the chromatin is like the harmonies of all the instruments. And then the like chromosomes are the deepened and like intensified musical harmonies. So that would be like all together, like deeply in like the middle of the orchestra. And then finally the last analogy would be like the DNA and the genes in the chromosome are like being packaged into cells. So like that would be the musical harmonies being heard by the audience, because like the audience would hear it, which is like the chromosome being packaged into the cell. So I guess like the audience is the cells. Right here I wrote a song about DNA replication because I thought this would be like a good way. At the time when we were doing the project, I chose the song Hello by Adele. Still pretty popular like now, but I thought I'd choose it for this. I have it recorded on a CD, which you guys can listen to after. Here are the lyrics if you like to read them. Matches with the harmony of the song and like the tune and everything and like the amount of syllables. This is my final song. It's called Things About DNA and the tune of like my favorite things, like the classic song. I didn't record this one, but it's also like just a way for like DNA to be explained in a way that isn't just like literal. It all rhymes and everything. So that's like mainly everything about DNA in the song as well. Then over here I have some explanations that you guys would be able to read afterwards about like each and every aspect of my binder here. So after reading like those, you would probably have to read these if you didn't understand any. But like they're all like straightforward, so I guess it would be okay. And finally, so after this binder is complete, the paintings on the board like this and that. This is an analogy also, comparing the stems of a flower to like the structure of DNA. Like here, the stem would be like the backbone, the flower would be the sugar, the leaves would be the phosphate, and these thorns are like the nitrogenous bases. So like that would be a nucleotide together. Yeah, so that's my project. Thank you.